Hi everyone and happy May. This is my first tutorial this month and it's actually really cold. I'm wearing my autumnal jumper and just cozying up in my studio to do some fun calligraphy. It is quite chilly outside. It's a bank holiday today in the UK. So the weather is a bit grey. So I thought it's just such a good opportunity to just cozy up, film this tutorial and share it with all of you in hope that it will also brighten up your day. So we're going to letter a really beautiful quote by William Shakespeare, and I'll guide you through it. I'm going to do it step by step. I'll guide you through the composition tips, and we're going to take it slow, but it's going to be beautiful, really simplistic, but it doesn't need to be full on to be beautiful. I'm just going to share this really lovely approach of planning your quotes. So there we go. If you're feeling ready, grab your brush pens or you can use dip pens with ink and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is just write out the quote and do a bit of planning. So add all the supply links in the description. So for this, you'll just need a piece of paper and a fine liner pen or any other pen. And we're just going to write it out. So it's right in front of us. So it's a really beautiful quote, really seasonal quote. And it says, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. I think it's so beautiful. It's by William Shakespeare, and I'm just quoting the author. So it's all beautifully complete. There we go. So now that it's in front of us, we can start thinking about the lines and how many lines we're going to position our calligraphy on. So I'm just circling the first line. So the words I think should go on the first and the second line. Again, this can be quite individual. I do like stacking my calligraphy rather than kind of stretching it. So having more lines always looks a bit more beautiful and also takes a bit more space in your page. So your calligraphy can be a bit bigger. So I've done 4 lines here, and I'm just underlining the key words, the words that I really kind of want to focus on, that are the main words of the phrase. And maybe we want to stylize them or just make them a little bit bigger. We can also choose a different color to kind of highlight them a little bit more. So there we go. So I think the words wind, shake, darling, buds, may, they're all quite important in this phrase. Okay, so next we're just going to draw 4 lines with our ruler and pencil, and we are just going to do a rough draft. Let's find the center line here. So just you can eyeball it or you can measure it out where the center of your page is and just do a little line so you know where the middle is. That can be really helpful, and I'm just grabbing my fine liner and I'm going to do this really kind of stylized freehand lettering. So it's definitely not calligraphy here, but I'm still kind of following the principles of calligraphy and bouncing my calligraphy. So I'm definitely going for this bouncy style here, but it is definitely a bit more kind of sketchy. So it's definitely quicker and I'm not being as thoughtful. I just want to see how these lines come together when you just write them all out, what needs balancing and what I need to kind of pay attention to when I do this in calligraphy. Having it in front of you as an initial draft like this can be really helpful. So there we go. So just a really quick draft. And from here, I can see that the third line is much longer. So I should definitely start it a bit more to the left. Now, the last line is quite short. So maybe we can play with spacing there, maybe spread out the letters a bit more. And the first line is quite important. So I'm trying to have the center line in between the two words. So rough winds. So having the center line right in the middle there. And now we can also think about stylizing our letters. So maybe we could add some longer strokes, some entry and exit strokes at the beginning and at the end of the line. We could detach the letter D in the word winds and do and darling, just to kind of make the letters a bit more interesting. We can definitely play around. So you can always pause the video if you want to play a bit more, just explore maybe some flourishes. So just plan a little bit more before we do this in brush pen or dip pen, depending on what it is that you're using. And when you are ready, we're going to grab a smaller piece of paper. So this is A5. I just folded A4 into half, and I'm starting by marking the center horizontally and vertically. So you can see that I've done a little line at the top, at the bottom, and on the sides. So I know where the middle is, horizontally and vertically. And I'm grabbing my ruler again, and we're going to do four lines again. So we're trying to position them kind of right in the center. So it looks nicely balanced already. And these will be our guidelines. And at the bottom, we're going to also add the author's name. So just make sure that you're happy with the positioning. So again, refer to your center line at the top and on the side so you can see where these four lines sit. And I'm just thinking about the color. I think I'll use this brush pen by Pentel. It's a brush sign pen by Pentel in green color, olive green. It's so beautiful. I definitely love this color so much. I use it a lot. And I'm just starting lettering. So you can definitely take it slow. I know I make it look easy. I've been doing calligraphy for a decade, which is a very long time. So obviously, I'll probably do it a bit faster. My rhythm will be a bit different. If you're a complete beginner, if you're just trying this out, it can definitely take a bit more time and you probably want to go even slower. So you can always pause and then refer to the first line before you start the second line. So there we go. I've just started a line with a really long stroke on the letter R, and I finished the line with a long exit stroke on the letter S. And I started the second line and I've stylized the letter D. So I've done the first part of the letter and then I started doing the loop from the left and just stretched the stroke a bit longer before I actually started forming the loop. And then adding a lot of bounce here on the letters H and K and the last stroke of the letter A. So all the last downstrokes of these smaller letters can be bounced and that can look really beautiful. So we can stretch the downstroke below the baseline and add a lot of bounce. Okay, so here comes the third line that is much longer. So we're definitely allowing space for that. So we are starting a bit more to the left. And I've done the word the, which can be a bit shorter. I'm doing the word darling, and again, I'm focusing on the letter D, R, and N, and the last downstroke of those letters, so I can bounce them below the baseline. The word buds is really pretty in calligraphy, actually. So we can definitely add a bit of bounce in the letter U. Notice how the second downstroke of the letter U goes all the way down and back up. And obviously, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. We're just practicing here anyway. And the word may maybe can be a bit more spread out so we can increase the spacing between the letters. I think that's a good idea because it's a shorter line and we can just take a bit more space by leaving bigger gaps between the letters. So as you finish one letter, stretch the stroke to the side a bit more before you start the next letter. And that's how you control the spacing by stretching or narrowing your connection strokes. So there we go. So this session is packed with tips, and you might want to rewatch it. You might want to pause here and there, and that's very normal. Just remember to keep going, to keep practicing, even if it doesn't look great the first time you do it. This can also just be considered as your second draft, and very often it takes more than two or three drafts for quotes, especially to make them look good. So keep going. Don't give up. Let's rub out the pencil marks and this is ready. So you probably want to wait for your pen to dry properly so we don't smudge anything, but this dries quite quickly. So I'm definitely ready to go. I'm using this lovely Tombow mono eraser. I really love it. It's quite nice. It does get rid of those pencil lines really well. There we go, and it looks really pretty, especially in green. Now, if we wanted to add a bit of embellishment, maybe you're still doing calligraphy, which is fine, carry on. But I'm just going to show you how you can use your fine liner to just kind of weave some beautiful floral detail or like leafy detail through your calligraphy. It doesn't need to be anything complicated. You can just do a few branches to kind of weave through your phrase and then add a few like buds at the top of each branch so we can just keep extending and keep filling it up. We can do a few leaves here and there. And I'm just doing these three petals and it looks effective enough. I don't feel like it needs anything else, just a couple of leaves these 3 petal flowers that kind of look like little buds, because we got the word buds in the quote. You can definitely reference it. And it just looks really lovely. Quite simplistic, but sometimes less is more. And we don't want to kind of take attention away from the quote. So it's quite nice to just embellish it slightly. I think it looks really effective. To keep going. I am probably going to stop myself, otherwise I'm just going to fill it in and I can never stop. So it's so relaxing doodling like this. I don't know if you feel the same, but sometimes I just get carried away and it just feels really nice and it definitely helps me switch off. So here we go, and that's the final look. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for creating with me. I hope you had fun and I would love to see what you've created. Share on Instagram. You can find me at Creative Field Designs. And if you'd love to continue learning with me, I have so many fabulous courses that I'm sure you would enjoy. I'm sure that would help you to level up your calligraphy skills. There are courses for beginners, for improvers. So it's a whole bunch of fun and I would love to see you there. I'll add a link in the description, so do have a look if you'd like to continue learning. And if you enjoyed this session, like this video, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out any future tutorials. See you soon.